Hi guys, welcome to MTV's The Challenge AFTERBUZZ's after show, breaking down all that happened in this week's episode. We saw one team go home, the rest headed to Argentina. Stay tuned, we're going to break it all down.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
It's the final countdown.
We're getting so close to the finals, guys. A great episode tonight. Saw all those important elements that we used to see in the show. We saw a challenge. We saw a jungle at the end. We saw a little bit of next week's episode. So a really good episode overall. This is season 28, episode 12, called Raging Bullies. This week I'm going to be hosting by myself tonight. My name is Jade Hanson. You can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Jade A. Hanson, guys. And please get on our live chat. Let me know what you think, what your thoughts are. That was a good episode, bad episode. We're going to be breaking it all down tonight. But starting off this episode this week, they started off with the Jenna and Zach drama. They led into that a little bit last week and teased us with it because we've really had no idea what the status has been with Zach and Jenna. But they teased last week Zach on a phone call accidentally calling Jenna the name Brooke. So clearly we're left thinking there's some cheating there. A little bit more was unraveled tonight and revealed. You see Jenna kind of struggling throughout this entire season, actually, with her relationship with Zach. Can see her mentally breaking down. He called her the wrong name. He's not acting affectionate, and it's really starting to impact her game. I felt terrible for her during the beginning of this episode. I know kind of what a toll that can take on you when someone who you love and you're in a relationship with is not giving you the affection that you need. So that was kind of a hard way to start off the episode, Jenna. I hope from what we saw that you break up with him because you don't deserve that. So no one deserves that. So guys, again, please tune in on the chat tonight. I'm going to be looking at all you guys are saying. So next up that we saw just a small conversation happen with Devin and Cheyenne, a little strategy talk tonight. Devin wants to be the big, bold, brave man of this game all of the sudden. Him and Cheyenne, just a reminder, you guys have pulled those white skulls so many jungles. They came back after they were eliminated. So this team has purely been existing off of luck. I don't think anyone's going to argue any differently than that. He's discussing with Cheyenne, you know, we should just, next time we're voted in, pull all of the skulls until we get black and prove ourselves. And Cheyenne kind of goes along with it. I'm thinking in my head, you know, who would go against luck in this kind of a game when you're this close to the money? So that happened. We kind of leave with that before we head in to this week's challenge. So the challenge is called Bridging the Gap, and a lot of different moving parts to this challenge, but basically have some people commenting here that Devin is crazy. Would completely agree with you. Thank you, Sky the Boss 96, for that. So anyways, heading into the challenge this week, guys, a lot of different moving parts, bridging the gap. Basically, the end result is each team has to build a bridge. There's a frame for a bridge, but you have to lay down each plank to help get yourself to the end. Obviously, being in challenge fashion, that's not going to be this simple for this game, so there's obstacles along the way that you have to complete in order to get those planks. Once you do get the planks, there are some puzzles you have to solve on that bridge, making it even more difficult. But lastly, and definitely the most funny part of this challenge, is that you and your teammate are united together under this ginormous t-shirt. So each one of you has an arm sticking out the side. Not sure what you guys thought on this, but I right away kind of jumped into strategy with this, thinking it would have a big impact for this challenge. Obviously, I thought Bananas and Sarah, teams like Nani and Wes, who were kind of equivalent in height, were going to have, you know, they were going to have an advantage for this challenge because they didn't have the shirt pulling on them and they didn't have to run at different heights with that t-shirt on. So automatically, that's kind of where my head was at. So please let me know what you guys think about that. But starting off, guys, so Wes and Nani were able to select two teams that would start off this game with a disadvantage, and that was going to be starting off 30 seconds late. In that, obviously, they chose Banana's team and Vince's team, so they had to sit back when the gun went off to signal that they were starting to go. First challenge they had was braiding a rope. Doesn't seem that difficult when you think about it, but these ropes are really tall, they looked heavy, and when you each only have one arm, it makes it kind of challenging. And the other thing too is some of the guys admitted for this sector of this portion of the challenge, they didn't know how to braid hair. So really kind of came down to the girls. You saw people like Nicole and Jenna really taking the lead on this and leading their partners through this step. Right out of the gate, you see Dario and Nicole, they're out first. You have Sarah and Bananas, who even though they had that disadvantage, come in second place. I myself was not shocked with this. See a couple people mentioning it here as to how strong of a team they are, so that wasn't a big shock for me that they took a lead despite that setback in the beginning. So continuing on, next phase is jump rope. By the way, the last people out of the braided rope were Vince and Jenna. So onto the jump rope, you had to jump rope 30 times without messing up, and again, seems easy to do, it's just jumping rope, but when you're tied to your partner, some of you again are different heights or you jump rope in different ways, it could be a little bit difficult, but Bananas and Sarah knock this out of the park again. You see a team that, came out on top in the last one, Dario and Nicole, they struggled and fell all the way to the bottom for this. So that kind of shifted things up and shifted where teams were going. Kind of surprising, Devin and Cheyenne, who've not performed at all really through this season, were in the middle of the pack for both of these. But one moment that I did note here for this portion of the challenge is Cheyenne is sitting there and she's hunched over and trying to puke. And in my mind, like if I was Devin, I would be totally freaking out and being so disgusted with someone's face right next to mine, trying to vomit. And he's cheering her on, go, 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 like get it out if you need to. So good for him. But on to the last portion of this challenge, guys. And you're seeing again, the teams lay down planks to help complete their bridge. They have the last step, and that's to untie knots. Really tightly wound knots that are on these poles. You have to get through each step, and then once you do, you're going to be able to unlock those final planks, lay them down, and cross to the finish line. So we see Bananas and Sarah get there first. They really did well. Again, guys, not surprising. Those two really excel in everything they do, so they were able to work together, get that done quickly. You do see them finish first. The other teams, Devin and Cheyenne did well, but this was a really great portion because you're seeing people use their teeth, use their mouths. Just, again, simple task, untying a knot, but when you only have one hand and your partner has one hand, it really comes down to communication. So the one team we did see struggle all the way to the beginning, or I'm sorry, the end, was Dario and Nicole. So they did lose that challenge, and obviously it's up to Bananas and Sarah, who's going to be going into the jungle, and not surprised to many who they voted in, but we'll get to that in just a short minute. Let's see. So we have some people commenting now that Cheyenne needs to have tougher skin coming into this show. I would agree with that. I think that a lot of times she's not shown that she is a true competitor. I would like to see a little bit more fire out of her. So that would have been nice if they would have gone into the jungle tonight. Some people not liking Devin, not liking Dario, don't care for Cheyenne. So not a whole bunch of winners left. But anyway, so guys, we continue going on. We see Bananas and Sarah have their power couple moment. They don't show much of this, not really needed because we already know who they're going to be sending in. But it is nice to see these two because they started off at the beginning of this season so upset with each other. I mean, more so Johnny Bananas towards Sarah, but they were very angry and upset, and it's really becomes clear in this episode that they have resolved those issues, are a strong team. Banana says, I was happy to see you, and that's when I kind of knew I'm over it. So they are over it, heading in to Argentina. That's the next stop for this show. Such a strong team. I think that's really going to help them when it comes down to it, potentially even in the finals. But come down to the jungle. It is time to pull skulls again. Just a reminder, we have seen Devin and Cheyenne pull white skulls time after time after time. So Cheyenne's up first, white skull. We have Nani and Wes are the ones that are going in versus They end up going in versus Dario and Nicole, but Nany pulls white. Devin, you don't know what he's going to do because he's kind of the wild card. Is he going to go against Cheyenne? Is he going to pull out the black and the white skull? They mentioned with him in an interview, that's what I want to do. So he ended up pulling just one white skull. I was surprised with that because he's so bullheaded. I thought he would just take it upon himself, but he didn't. He pulled a white skull again. So Cheyenne and Devin saved by the skulls. So you see Nany and Wes that are going to be headed into that jungle, and it's kind of heartbreaking after what we saw last week with Nicole really not supporting Nany. These two are cousins, and to see, it's the first time they said in this episode that bloodlines have battled in a final jungle like that. So Wes and Nany, Nicole and Dario. Heading in, I predicted that Nany and Wes would do well. They show kind of the layout for this jungle. There's cages that are on the ground that are in the shape of kind of an S. You have to crawl through on your hands and knees. And I was really excited because I've been talking about how I wanted to see a physical jungle for so long on this season of the challenge. We haven't really gotten that yet. I thought this was going to be the final opportunity because you do see these teams when they're passing in that S-shaped wire cage. They have to pass each other, and they have the opportunity to get physical and try and stop one another if they want. And it just, it didn't happen. It didn't get to that point during this challenge, or this jungle, I'm sorry. But so what happens, you have to get 2 points. So they are going to run this twice. Each teammate has to get through that S and ring a bell, and whatever team does that first gets a point. So first round, you kind of see Dario and Wes. Wes off to a pretty slow start compared to Dario. Dario flies through that sand. He's moving really quickly, digging in. And Wes, I think, just kind of showed his age. He's been doing this for a while. He is older than Dario, and he just seemed slower. It didn't seem as agile when he was making his way through that S. So Dario hits Nicole's hand first. She hops in, and once Nany and her are in, it's really like a lead-up moment. Like, are we going to see Nany try and take on Nicole? Because honestly, Nany's a lot bigger, so she could have the advantage in this physical side, kind of get revenge on her cousin for how she's been treating her and the sneaky stuff she's been doing behind her back. But Nany on the first round chooses to go the high route. So I was kind of surprised with this because Nicole was in the lead. She just kind of lets her skate past, and Nicole and Dario get that first buzz. So guys, again, thank you so much. We have Lily tuning in saying Wes is the reason they lost. In watching it, I kind of agree with you. I think that Wes was much, much slower than Dario. I don't think Nany was as fast as Nicole, but it wasn't what we were expecting. It wasn't the quickness. So also too, George is saying Dario and Nicole is our sleeper team. We're going to see them, I'm assuming he thinks, not do very well on the next challenge, not go to that final. So I could agree with you guys, but they have Cheyenne and Devin that they're going to have to likely compete against. So I think they might make it to a final. But on to the second round. Again, you got to win 2 to be able to head to Argentina. We see Nicole and Nany start off first. Again, they're so civil when they pass each other in that tunnel. Don't even interact. They just kind of let each other scoot by. And I was kind of disappointed with that. I wanted to see, you know, some passion, but it did show me respect from both sides that they didn't get physical and they just kind of let each other pass. But, you know, in Nany's mindset, if I just watch Wes go so slowly through that tunnel, I would be saying to myself, I have to make up ground some way because he's not going to be able to take on Dario. And that's exactly what we see happen. Dario completely, you know, outruns Wes, or outcrawls him in that little chamber. They don't get very physical either in the past, which also surprises me. I thought Wes would kind of be all for it. We've seen him get really competitive in the past, so I was disappointed in that. But Dario and Nicole finish on top. They win. Exciting for them. Dario's obviously excited. They cut to Nicole and she's crying. So that was kind of hard because I can't imagine, you know, having to beat my cousin, the person who brought me into this world, has given me the opportunity to the world of the challenge. She's given me this opportunity to win this money, and I have to be the one that sends her home. So that was pretty emotional. I loved the reaction from Wes and Nany at the end. They always do a final interview where you speak to them after they've lost and are going to go home. And Wes and Nany were just so upset. And that's the kind of passion that I like to see out of these teams. You know, someone had mentioned that Cheyenne and Devin, Cheyenne really needs to step it up and have that fire under her. And I agree. I think that Cheyenne and Devin are a fun team to watch. They're exciting. Their strategy is very weird. And I like how much they ignite people in the house. But I do more so like teams that want it. And I don't doubt that with Nany and Wes for a second. I don't think I've really seen them perform that well this season, but they are going to be a team that I miss not seeing them around, because obviously with the Wes and Bananas thing too, it adds a little bit of drama. So we leave off with that. Wes and Nany go home. The remaining 4 teams, they are headed to Argentina, and they show us a little bit of that this episode. They look like they're having a lot of fun at the airport. I wish I could be there with them. So check in and see. We have, a couple people saying, I really like Nany. I think that she's very bold, and I would completely agree with that. Other people saying Johnny and Sarah, this is really their challenge to take away, and I would completely agree. In everything we've seen so far, Bananas and Sarah are the strongest team. They continue to be the strongest team, and they, quite frankly, wipe the floors with these other teams in most of these challenges. So I do think that unless we see some big mix-up or some other teams come out, we are probably going to see them walk away with a challenge win. So, to wrap it up, guys, we do see just a quick sneak peek at what's coming next week. Not too much is unveiled, but they do show a fight between Cheyenne and Vince. He obviously has gotten under her skin a few times this season. See it happen again, and Cheyenne at one point during this preview says, I want to go home, I want to go home. So I think it would be really disappointing if they left, if her and Devin went home after all the luck they've had for something as small as that. And you can't let people like Vince, really get into your head and get under your skin. So even though I don't think they really deserve to be here, I think they should be sticking around. And so we'll see what ends up happening. But again, we are getting so close to that final, and I'm really looking forward to it. I do hope to see more competition than I'm expecting, though, because as we mentioned, Bananas and Sarah really there's not been a ton that they've been able to, no one they can compete with. So I would like to see some teams step up. I don't know who that's going to be with what's left, but hopefully that happens. Guys, again, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. My name is Jade Hanson. You can find me at Jade A. Hanson, both on Instagram and Twitter, guys. Tune in next week. We're going to be breaking it all down, what happens. Love getting your opinions. So guys, thanks so much.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.